Okay, so let's start with the first topic. The first topic is about audit logging and syslogging. Maybe I will just mention that the webinar is focused on the spring release, which means the ECP endpoint 4.9 and EDX Toolbox 1.10. And since the last version, there weren't any new events like audit log events on the ECP endpoint or EDX Toolbox. However, we have added a new feature, or we have extended the logging to display size of the content for the ECP endpoint and EDX Toolbox. We can quickly take a look how the audit log for ECP endpoint and EDX Toolbox looks like. It is part of the standard delivery of EcoSP for the EcoSP packages. So when you will download the installers, there's also documentation, and within this documentation, you will find also this audit log events. So let's take a look on it. Okay, so as I mentioned, the audit rules are described in the Excel sheet where all audit messages are available. You can see that there are columns category, then there's some identifier of the audit log, type of the event, some description if needed, and then important message, which is basically the message in the log file, which you can use for parsing your logs by some system. So this is the message. Then there is source column. So if it is related with the messaging or encrypting and so on. Then we have column severity, which says how the audit log is critical from the lowest priority to the highest. So the number four is the highest, I think. It should be somewhere, yeah, like this. And the last three columns describe the ECP components. And when the component is marked with the X, it means that this audit log is available for the component. So for instance, you can see that on the ECP broker, there is no possibility to use audit log for login and logout. There's also the second tab, which is called legend. And there are described the severity levels of what the numbers means. So you can see that it is from some non-security level to the high security level. And there is also described event time. You can see there's several event times from authentication to some registration signing and so on. So you can have some detail on it. Maybe I will show you what changed, what exactly changed from the last version of the audit log. As I mentioned, the message size or payload size, if you want, was added to the send and receive message. So this is related with the messaging event. And you can see that whenever a message is sent or received on the ECP endpoint, the payload size is logged to the audit log. So this is about the ECP endpoint audit log, and we have the same file also for the EDX toolbox. So we can quickly take a look on it.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Miguel Escribano from Red Eléctrica. For the case of this list of messages, what should be the ones that we should be focused on if there is an alarm for sending a message that we have not received any feedback from the server or the endpoint, what is the most critical ones that we should be focused on to keep an eye on them?
Okay, I will open the previous Excel sheet. Okay, it's quite tricky, like to use the logging for let's say for the monitoring of functionality. This is more like for the security reasons, like you can check, I don't know, log in, log out, and so on. Maybe like, okay, there are some failed messages for encrypting, decrypting, like, so maybe these messages connected with the encryption, then there will be some messages with connected with the messaging. So like this one message is not valid, like definitely this is not fine, like message should be valid. So this is quite critical. Maybe this one failed to send messages could be critical. Basically, when we will filter the severity, I think from 3 to 4, there will be critical notifications which shouldn't happen. Like you can see, certificate expired definitely shouldn't, like there should be some automatic certificate renewal. So this is wrong. Then registration. New registration, so you should be aware that if you are trying to register again your endpoint to the component directory. So I think all these with the severity 3 or 4 are critical for you. But as I mentioned, the ECP audit messages are not primarily for monitoring of functionality of the ECP endpoint. This is more for some post-processing of the logs. Okay, you can have some triggers which will send some notifications on this, but for monitoring, we should use the monitoring metrics which will be described later. So I don't think if it is good to rely only on the logs when you are monitoring your application, because when the application is stopped or not logging anything, maybe storage for the logs can be full, that then you don't have any message in the audit log. So
Thank you so much.
yeah, you're welcome. Okay, let's move to the EDX audit log. It is very similar to the ECP audit log. The categories or the columns are the same, so I will not go through this again. Maybe I will mention that same as in the ECP endpoint, also in the EDX toolbox, we have added this payload size to messaging for sending and receiving the message. So this was added. You can see that there is a bit less log messages, like there is 50 on the ECP endpoint, it is almost 100. And there are also only 2 components. So there is just toolbox and catalog, because for EDX network, there are only 2 components. Again, there is also the legend with severity levels are the same, and event types are also almost the same. Maybe, yeah, there is less event types than on the ECP endpoint. So this is about the audit messages. So if you are interested, like what is in the log file when you log in or log out, or if you are interested what you should monitor, then this Excel sheet is the right for you. Maybe we can take a look on some demonstration together with the configuration example. So I will log in to the server, and I will show you the configuration. So So how to configure the ECP audit log? Basically, you will just add this ECP audit to your ECP endpoint or EDX toolbox configuration. So this spring.profile.active will contain another value, which is ECP audit. So this is also the same for the EDX toolbox. When we will take a look on the log file itself, I can log in to server. So today I will demonstrate all examples in the Docker environment. So let's instance on this Nemo endpoint. And I will try to, when we will take a look to the log file, you can see there is separate log file, which is called ECP-audit log, where are all these audit events logged. There is quite a lot of events, so I will just filter it for login. And I will try to log into new endpoint.
Maybe you should check the Marlin endpoint. That's the endpoint has disabled user authentication.
Yeah, that's a good point. Exactly. So we will take out this. Okay, and let's try to log into Marlin. So, okay, I was automatically logged in, and in the log file you can see the ECP audit log message. So login has been successful. User admin logged in from this IP address with this session ID. The same for logged out. I'll take a look. What message is used for logging out? So okay, this is not the endpoint. Yeah, it is also an endpoint. Okay. Yeah.
Filter them.
And filter. Yep. This is the filter. So all of them. And in the very beginning, you can see this error message should be logged in the audit log when the user is logged out. So let's take a look. I will, for instance, copy this string, logged out. Okay, and let's try to log out. Okay, and you can see again there's message that user was logged out. Address and the session ID together with severity. Okay. Regarding this audit log, you can either log this audit events to some local file and then do some post-processing on this audit log file, or you can send these audit logs to a remote server, which is called Syslog server, where can be some, I don't know, maybe security department checking the logs. There can be some policy for a company on these logs, and so you can send the logs remotely for some analysis. This syslog configuration is described in the ECP administration guide, chapter 4.9, and in the EDX administration guide, chapter 9, how to send logs to syslog server. Let's take a look, for instance, on the ECP administration guide on the chapter 4.9, and let's take a look what should be exactly configured. Okay. Syslog. And this is chapter 9. Okay. And we are interested in the description for what it is used. This configuration is done in the ETX or ECP logback file. So, okay, this example is for the ETX toolbox, but it is very similar for the ECP endpoint. Just the file is named ECP-logback. And basically, you will add a new appender to this log configuration for Syslog. You will define host of the remote server. In this example, it's localhost, which will not be the case probably in your case. And then there is possibility to configure facility and suffix pattern, which are like some configuration details for your Syslog server. And you can define which level should be logged to the syslog. So you can see that in this case, all logs like from the info are logged to both file and syslog appender. Okay. The configuration is same for the ECP endpoint. Again, you can see that you will add this appender name to your file where the login configuration is done, which is the ECP logback.xml file, and you will add there these lines, and you will just define the server where the logs should be sent to. Okay, so I think this is all for the audit logging and syslogging. Does anyone has some question regarding this part? Maybe I will check the chat if there is some question. No, no question yet. So we will continue